Blynd Submyshynz, where DIY bands submit songs for us to listen and react to blind. Every week, we'll bring a guest from the underground music, arts, or entertainment scene to help you sort through mountains of new music. We go in blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of
Blynd Submyshynz.
We have a really fun one set for you today. Our guest, who we will bring on shortly, is the one and only Billy Goate, who runs underground heavy music blog called Doomed and Stoned. If you're a band in the heavy underground, you probably know who Billy is. You probably submitted music to Billy. Billy probably wrote about your music. He probably premiered a video for you.
I got pissed off that he didn't.
Oh, I don't know. Billy seems to somehow be able to accommodate just about everybody.
No, Billy's great.
Yeah. And so kind of that brings me to what I wanted to talk about as sort of the intro topic, which is this is the first time we're having somebody on who's not a member of a band. Oh, I know, crazy, huh? What are we doing?
What are we doing? It only took us 5 episodes.
Yeah, took us 5. So, this is a really interesting scene. The sort of, I started generically calling it the heavy underground. We entered through kind of traditional doom, stoner, sludge, rock and metal. Obviously, that's where Billy came from. But if you dig through Billy's site or my playlist or JD's playlist, we listen to tons of stuff, and we've selected music and taken submissions for traditional heavy metal, power metal, grind. I mean, all over the place.
Soul.
Soul. But I'm talking specifically about the
the
ecosystem of kind of the heavy underground, because it's not just bands. It's promoters like JD and I here. It's the journalists and the bloggers who help circulate and get the message through to everybody. It's the notifications on JD's laptop.
Seriously. Goddamn Sophos.
It's okay. None of it has to be perfect. It's artists. It's, tireless, scenesters and people who come out to every single show and talk their friends into going to every single show.
I mean, it's even the people that work at the bars.
It's the people who run the venues.
They're part of the scene.
The bookers. Everybody is part of the scene. And, our little corner of the world is a pretty goddamn friendly place. And, since getting heavily back into music over the last 6 years or so, I won't say it's been shocking, but it's been really exciting and heartening to see how warm everybody is and how everyone really just wants to help everyone else. As long as you're cool, as long as you treat people well, as long as you do what you say you're going to do. Whether it's, booking and playing a show or, participating in a recording project or writing an article, the PR people, Leanne Ridgway, who we'll have to try and talk into coming on for an episode sometime. These, people are tireless and, like the bands, invest a lot of time and money into the scene, and those are investments that aren't necessarily paid back in money.
And the intention is usually not to,
absolutely.
Just to give.
Yeah, so I want to have Billy on and more people like Billy to sort of talk about their contributions to the heavy underground. And the internet is a cesspool. We have seen, in this year and in the last 4 years or so, we have seen how it can be weaponized for evil. But it can also be used for good, and one of the really great things the internet enables is the sort of curation and creation of communities of interest, of scenes, connecting people around the world who have common interests. Sometimes those common interests are conspiracy theories about celebrity pedophiles.
Pizza places. And sometimes those are just people who love music and want to talk about it and share it and write about it and play it for their friends and go see it. And that's, we're in the middle of a really cool scene. So it's going to be fun to bring Billy on and talk to him. And it's also going to be fun to bring more people like Billy on, who come from different parts, tour bookers, promoters, people who work in artist management, even at the level of these bands we're talking to. Some of them have representation. It's mostly DIY, but there's there are small PR firms that will work with small bands in the heavy underground. There's a whole network of people that get from nothing to the final product that you guys get to see and hear. And so JD and I have been putting on festivals since 2016 in the Bay Area. Been that long?
Yeah, it has. And the first festival, that clicking is driving me nuts.
Geez, that's even worse than my Sophos reminder.
I don't even know what it is. We're just gonna cross our fingers
that it doesn't come through in the recording.
No, we'll just hope that it goes away. That's what you do in audio engineering. You just cross your fingers and hope. We put on our first festival in downtown San Jose in 2016, Beers in Hell. It was one day. It was at a tiny dive bar that had a grand total capacity of just over 100 people, but that tiny 100-person venue actually had 2 stages. So I don't even remember. We had a dozen bands, 13 bands flipping back and forth between the 2 stages. Yep. It was such a cool scene, really great bands, made new friends, saw old friends, it re-energized us to promote. One of the really crazy things that happened is I was in touch with Billy, and he decided he wanted to fly down from Oregon to attend and film and write about the event, and he did exactly that. And
interview the bands. He spent time with every band, I think.
Yeah, I think he did spend time with every band. He filmed every band set and gave them their recordings. It was really cool and started kind of a back and forth conversation about band stuff and about life in general. Billy's an interesting person who has been very open in his public-facing role as Doomed and Stoned about, challenges in his life, and particularly challenges around depression. If you search through Doomed and Stoned, there's a really amazing, I think, 3-part write-up that he just decided to do about his struggle with depression over the course of his life. And it's, I think a thing that a lot of artists, a lot of people in general, but, possibly artists are more prone to struggle. And certainly right now.
Yeah, definitely right now.
I think people who never experienced depression before, or continued or ongoing depression, are finding that they're feeling it now. So, and hey, let's face it, the music that we listen to is like a celebration of misery. Right? It's like, I joked at the near the beginning of the pandemic that for most of my life I've been listening to and writing music about the end of the world. But don't get it wrong, I never actually wanted to see it. It's a fascinating concept to dig into. And I think as kids of the 80s, I was a kid of the 80s living through the Cold War and the first nuclear scare. It's a thing that I've been preoccupied with from a very young age. And so that's what all these bands are kind of in the doom scene, at least, are kind of digging into, like what's at the bottom of misery. And, like Susie said, sometimes in the first episode, sometimes you want music that amplifies your current mood, and sometimes you want music that is designed to turn it around. And this is a case of, people writing music to explore the mood and maybe try and wallow in it or a little bit. But at the end, I always come out feeling better. I leave a Yob show feeling extremely happy. And I think to some people listening to a Yob album, that would be surprising. And I think JD's the same way, right? I think there's something cathartic about the depth of particularly music and kind of the doom scene. So, anyways, that's a long story.
That was a long story.
Billy's.
It was a good story, but I'm just kind of looking at you, going, "Oh, so
when do I get to talk?
When do I get to talk today?"
Oh yes. I think it's. Oh, shut up. I think it's mic cables, by the way, and I think we can deal with it. So let's go ahead and bring Billy on and talk to him a little bit about what he's up to, what he's listening to, where he is, how he's feeling.
I have a question for him first thing.
Ooh, JD has a question for him.
I do.
Admit.
I'll give you 3 guesses.
I don't know what your question is. Hey, there he is. Welcome, Billy.
Are you ready for your first question? Is Goat really your last name?
What's that?
Is Goat really your last name?
No, it's just a nickname that people gave me. One person in particular, early on, just before I started Doomed and Stoned, I still do have a really good Australian Facebook friend / pen pal. It's kind of feels like a pen pal. Did either of you have pen pals growing up, like in grade school or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody knows that's a thing, but that was indeed a thing. I had a German pen pal, and lost track. But anyway, this Australian pen pal / Facebook friend nicknamed me Billy Goate because she gave nicknames to everyone. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll stick with it. And then I created a whole persona around it, and it just kind of worked. So,
that's awesome. That was I was not expecting that detailed and long of an answer. I thought it was going to be like, nope, it's Anderson, But hey, starting off strong.
There you go. No, my last name is Sherman. Still my first name is Billy.
It's funny. I've been talking to you on and off. Like I talked a little bit in the intro about you coming down for the first Beers in Hell. Mm-hmm. And I've been talking to you on and off since before that, and I don't think I knew what your last name was.
Well, now we do.
It's the question everyone's been wondering.
Yeah. Awesome. So how are you doing? How is this?
Where is North Pole?
Yeah, no. Where are you? Where are you?
I wish I was at the Northern Lights, but I am in Eugene, Oregon right now, and it's currently overcast and a little bit cold, and fall is definitely in the air, and it's rapidly passing. Man, if you don't get out there and enjoy it, it's going to be gone in a blink of an eye.
It'll be gone.
Yeah.
How are the venues handling things in Eugene? One of my favorite venues on earth is in Eugene.
Old Nick's. Yeah. Well, the only reason they're surviving is because they've got a good food game going, and they've been doing a lot of the, Grubhub delivery and things like that. So I'll support them by, ordering a burger or something every now and again. And then I think they recently started doing some kind of more social activities, but I have yet to really see any live music reappear.
Yeah, it's so there's one particular thing about that venue that for a touring DIY band makes it so awesome, and that is you back up to a rolling door, and that rolling door opens up, and then you load onto the stage. You can literally back your vehicle up to the edge of the stage.
It's like a garage door. It's great.
Yeah, yeah, and then you're kind of staring at this big rock in the background. I think people climb that little. It's like kind of right in the middle of town. It's a weird setup. Mm-hmm. But man, they could flip that PA around, and the bands could just face the parking lot instead of the inside of the venue.
Yeah, and I don't know whether they have to have any license for that in particular, or whether they've tried that and I'm just not aware. But yeah.
Well, I feel like you would know if they had done a show.
especially something doom or stoner related for sure.
Yeah. That's one thing I will say for a lot of city and local governments have put away some of the petty and maybe overreaching processes and rules in order to allow people to get shit done and stay afloat during the pandemic. I mean, people are yelling about lockdowns and government overreach, but it did not take California very long to say, bars you can sell drinks and to-go cups and
we'll find a way.
Unthinkable.
Slurpees full of Jack Daniels and Coke.
I'll tell you, the one good thing that came out of this that wasn't here before in Eugene is weed delivery.
How was there not weed delivery in Eugene? Was it illegal?
If it was, I wasn't aware of it. My understanding is it was just not approved. So it is totally a thing now, and I was pretty spoiled over the summer. I took a little vacation in my mind since I couldn't go anywhere. I spent June, July, and August completely stoned.
Hey man, it's healthier than a lot of other ways you could cope with this kind of insanity.
Well, and I'd never really, I'd smoked. It didn't really do much for me. I hadn't done I grew up pretty sheltered, right? So it may sound strange that I'm 45 and I'm just starting to experiment with THC, but that was indeed the case. And I had my first bona fide psychedelic experience from THC earlier in the summer. From edibles of all things.
Yeah, it was funny. I was talking about kind of the catharsis of the music that we listen to. My kids always ask me why is it, they don't need more because they're a little bit more mature, but they used to always ask me, why does your music always sound sad?
Or why is it angry?
Or angry, yeah. What person would choose to listen to sad music? Never mind all the sappy love ballads and breakup songs.
Right.
But no, I leave a yob show ecstatic,
happy. For sure, yeah.
And
it's life changing.
And the last one I went to in Oakland, at the Metro Opera House, I just kept going, 10 milligrams more, 10 milligrams more. And then he said thank you, good night, and turned his amp off, and I didn't know where I was.
And I had stumbled back to the hotel an hour earlier.
Yeah. My
hour,
very
maybe a
first
half hour,
job show was here in Eugene at the Wow Hall, which is one of Mike's favorite local venues. I think mainly because it's all ages, and it's a very historic venue. And I didn't know much better because I had never seen him live before. I just got right up to the stage, right in front of Mike, right in front of his big old amps, and I lost my hearing for a week, no joke. I didn't even know if I'd get it back again. But I heard Burning the Altar live, and that's my favorite song, and he doesn't play it much anymore. So that was a treat.
That's awesome. Yeah, someday I'm going to talk Mike into coming on this and having a chat. It seems like musicians are a little bit antsy at home, too, and willing to maybe do some lower grade PR than maybe what their management and...
Or just, like, break out and talk to people, you know?
Exactly. That's been... You know, JD and I have been, our families have been bubbled up since like late June, early July. We have a very similar kind of risk profile and lifestyle, and we live a block apart. Our kids are great friends, so we had that at least. But talking to other people has been super weird. And we're social. We go to shows multiple nights a week. We put on shows. Like we're immersed in this. So yeah, the podcast has been fun because it's been a good chance to have some chats.
And this is our PSA for anybody that's been wondering why we're sitting 2 feet from each other talking into a microphone.
Blasting hot.
We are bubbling.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
it
Crook
is a
hasn't
thing.
been practicing. We're men of a certain age. We have members who have comorbidities like the serious ones. So we got to be careful. So.
Well, I looked at my body mass index and I was like, yep, I have a comorbidity. I'm obese, apparently. And to be like my perfect weight, I have to be as thin as I was 20 years ago when I just got out of the Army. And I was in peak physical shape there. And that's like right where the body mass index begins for me is ideal. And I'm like, something's off here.
I'll tell you, I have a long-standing beef with BMI. BMI is a sociological tool. It was never meant to be a medical tool. No, it was for doing sociological research developed in Europe like 200 years ago, 150 years ago. It's used because it's simple and universal, and so it can be applied kind of broadly, but it is in fact not helpful at all. There are almost zero professional athletes in team sports who would show up as anything but obese or morbidly obese. I mean, it's not what it's made for. And it's sad that people, figure out their self-worth and define themselves based on this number that was never meant to do that.
Yep. So you're worthy, Billy. You're worthy.
Okay.
You're good. Was it?
I'm overweight, but I'm not obese.
Yeah.
That's my declaration today.
I always ask myself, how do I feel? Right. That's the most important thing for health is how do you feel?
Can you walk around the block without getting breathless?
Can you do the things you want to do? Mm-hmm. And if so, you're good. And the answer for me right now is
it's like I haven't really been tested yet. But yesterday I don't shop Amazon much, but it is the pandemic, and I got a pair of tennis shoes. And I've never bought a pair of tennis shoes without trying them on first. But I needed a pair of walking shoes. I can't have any more excuses for not going out and walk, especially in this weather. I love the fall. So I will indeed get a chance to test out what a year cooped up in my house without any real exercise is like. And I'm sure there'll be a bit of breathlessness to begin with, but I'll get back in shape.
Yeah. It's not that hard. It's not that late. We're all about the same age. We can still do it.
Hell yeah.
It's still hard.
Think about
whenever I start getting bad, down on myself, thinking life is over at 45, I just look at Matt Pike, getting married at 40. I think he was 45 when he got married in Vegas just a couple of years ago, and a guy lost his toe, and he ain't stopping, man.
No. Yep. It's going to take a Mack truck to stop Matt.
Exactly. So it's like, got to have your heroes.
He's probably got a high BMI too.
Yeah.
He wins all the odds.
Yeah. So what have you been listening to? What has there been certain bands or certain types of music that have been fueling your imagination while you're locked up?
Good question. Yeah, I'm always listening to a lot of different stuff, and I have my staples, that I come back to. Alice in Chains. I have always been kind of a nominal fan of the Deftones, and I really like their new record. So, those are some bigger acts, but my real delight is in discovering music from the underground. And over in your neck of the woods, at least not far, Sacramento is a band called Sky Pig.
Pig?
Yes.
Yes.
You've heard of them?
Oh, yeah, I know them very well.
Yes. Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, so Nick, the drummer, was the drummer for Tusk. They played at Beers in Hell. He lived in Alameda. So we
interviewed him.
Yeah, I think he talked to him.
I remember reading the article.
And then he and his girlfriend Kallio moved to Sacramento, and he pretty quickly got into Sky Pig, and they played. We had them play our album release show.
Yeah, the album release show.
They played the Cook 2 release show.
More Beers in Hell. Right?
Yeah, and I was looking at pictures of his new baby last night. So
bowling.
Yeah, actually, one of the submissions that we'll talk about is submitted by Nick, but a friend of theirs, a band I haven't heard yet. You're the person I'm worried about though, because you're the person who's going to go, yeah, I've heard that band.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did something a little bit different with the selections this time to try and avoid playing you things that you already knew about. Although it's probably going to happen.
It's going to backfire.
That's fine. Same thing. When we have
don't worry about it, because I have anxiety looking at my, because I'm a digital kid. I have everything in digital. So if it's out, I've got it, whether it's good or not. And I have anxiety sometimes just looking at my folder, my music folder, and knowing there's some gems in there, but I get through a lot of crap to find it.
Get there.
And yeah, it's just intimidating. So with Sky Pig, I didn't get into them until last week, and they contacted me over the lazy, hazy days of summer in August, and I totally missed that message, and I regret that. But I made up for it. I started banging that drum, and my fellow bloggers are all over it, and played them on my show. And
yeah, I saw. I kind of catch the heat just because of my involvement in so many different parts of the heavy underground. I see it whenever somebody's kind of picking up. Same thing happened with Chrome Ghost.
I love Chrome Ghost.
Another great band from Sacramento.
Yeah,
we had Jake on the second episode.
Cool.
He was our guest.
Hi, Jake.
Hi, Jake. Yeah, not Jake from State Farm. Jake from Chrome Ghost.
Hi, Jake. What are you wearing?
So what are some of the bands then? Besides Sky Pig.
Okay, so another one, and I didn't pick these just to,
just to promote,
play up your area, but, Transylvanian Tapes has been issuing a lot of really good stuff lately. And I've really been smitten by this band, Stygian Crown. I believe they're from the Los Angeles area. Stygian Crown. Apparently, is that how you pronounce it? Stygian?
I think so.
Okay, because I actually put it through Google Translate before the show just to make sure I wasn't totally I wasn't supposed to say Stygian Crown or something stupid like that.
I don't even know. It could be Stygian.
And then I was like, okay, what is Stygian? And then it apparently is something to do with the underworld and the Styx River. And so I don't know the lore, but I do like their style of doom. It's an epic doom, very beautiful, a lot like Church in many ways. Worth looking up.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about that label I think on Jake's episode, because I think they did a cassette release for the Chrome Ghost record.
Was it a single?
No, for the Chrome Ghost record. It's a full. Are you making jokes?
Yeah.
Callbacks? All right.
Another band I want to just
singles.
Throw in there from the other side of the world this time, from Trondheim, Norway, is Shepherd's Crook. And unfortunately, they just haven't taken off with the heavy underground like other bands, and I don't quite understand why. It could be just they haven't been getting out and performing a lot in the past couple of years, but they've put out some very solid kind of groovy death doom. It's kind of like if Weed Eater were to meet like Graves at Sea or something like that. You know, it's just it's sludgy, it's dirty, but it's got a nice groove to it that really puts it in the company of like Weed Eater and who else am I thinking of? Yeah, that ilk.
So if on the Sky Pig release, if I was gonna pick a little chunk of one song, what should I throw on?
The second song on the Skag. Yeah, man.
Okay.
That's a seriously heavy song. It's got some great guitar slides and things. I mean, it's doing its thing.
All right, let's hear some. This is the Skag by Sky Pig from Sacramento.
So cool.
Yeah,
that chugging, yeah. I call that a slide. That wasn't a slide. My vocabulary in guitar is limited because I'm a pianist. What can I say?
That's fine.
But you know, the da na 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 na. I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
That's gonna get me every time.
And they're great live. The bass player and Rob are both like gear junkies and have two of the most epic pedal boards I've ever seen in my life. And then Nick's the opposite. He's just like he's a basher. He's a really powerful primal drummer. So it's a cool mix.
I'd love to see him live.
I was really stoked to see Nick land in that band so quickly and for them to kind of be super busy because I know he loves to do it, and he was leaving a music project when he left the Bay Area for Sacramento. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really regret not getting down for Beers in Hell too. There was really no excuse for it. Like last year I went through a real antisocial phase and always came up with one reason or another not to get up to a show. And then, you know, it's one thing when you can go, but you choose not to. But then when you can't go at all, then you start looking back at that year and you're like, man, I missed that show and that show and that show.
Just the fact that you would consider coming down from Oregon to our little festival that says a lot.
Well, it's the band you chose, man. Like every single band, I didn't know all of them, but most of them that I knew, it was like, wow, I've always wanted to see Chrome Ghost, and now I know Sky Pig was there. So.
Yeah, well, we'll be back at it. We were going to be up your way in April. We were supposed to tour with Plane Ride.
Oh yeah,
they were coming out from.
I remember. I had that one on my calendar.
Yeah, so.
Aren't they Ripple?
Yeah, it's a Ripple band.
Repping the Ripple in your sweatshirt there.
I am, yeah. I got a nice little hoodie from Ripple. I got Does It Doom up here too. You guys know about Steve. And the only thing I don't have is Doomed and Stoned. You know, I thought that'd be a little crass to like Doomed and Stoned everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, that is.
And I'm representing Toke out of North Carolina.
Yeah, Toke's fantastic.
They are, yeah. They played the first Doomed and Stoned festival in 2016. It was amazing.
Yeah, we could have a whole episode on the etiquette of wearing your own band's shirt. That was a hotly contested topic.
It really is.
I've heard the thinking has kind of come around full circle where people are like, well, why can't we wear, and not so much wearing your own band shirt, but like going to a concert with that band shirt on. That was always like a no. I understood for years. At least that's how I learned it.
If
when I first
cool.
Yeah, if you wanted it cool, you came with some other band shirt.
Episode about
t-shirts,
t-shirt etiquette in the underground.
Yeah,
there you go.
Goya, we got Big Biz over there.
Nice.
This is a Yob hat. You can't really see because it's stitched in black, but
I've got Yob shorts on today.
No, you
don't. I'm looking good.
I just joked with my wife that we're finally getting to the weather where I'm going to have to put pants on for the first time in like 6 months.
Dude,
We don't have
jorts.
to.
People have been joking about jorts my whole life, and I got I put on some weight over the pandemic, and I couldn't fit into anything else. So I went into my closet and I found my old pair of denim shorts, like
Kevin
really
Smith would be
nice
so
ones.
proud.
And I was like, I actually fucking fit into these things, and I couldn't believe it. So I couldn't have been that fat. So I think my other stuff just shrank. But I've been wearing these fuckers around for the whole damn summer. I love them.
That's awesome. All right, so why don't we get into listening to some of these submissions and
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's the part. That's what we're all here
That's
for.
kind of what we're here for.
So we're
That's
gonna
right.
do
Okay.
2 groups of 3 songs. Each group we have 2 songs that were submitted, and then something that I pulled off of the Bandcamp features. We'd like to spend a little time talking about kind of the work that Bandcamp is doing to expose different scenes all over the world. And the twist this time is we asked for and got a ton of submissions.
A ton.
But
Keep them coming.
one way I thought I could kind of control whether or not you had heard these songs was I think all 4 of the songs that I pulled were people that I know, right? So I haven't heard the music yet. So to me, I'm still going in blind, although I might know a little bit about the band themselves. But yeah, they're all people that I know. So the first one is actually the song that Nick submitted for his friend. The band is called Sundrowner. And the song is called In the Forest There's Every Kind of Bird. So the first thing I want to do, actually no, I'm going to start
on Bandcamp?
I'm going to start playing the song. Yeah, it's on Bandcamp. I'm going to start playing the song and then I'll pull up their page so that we can take a look at the album art and all of the other particulars.
Yes, please.
And you mentioned Alice in Chains. We talked about him last week. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to Gargoyle yet. That's Dave Davidson from Revocation's like weird 90s chonky
Good.
grunge project that gets compared to in every other article Alice in Chains because the singer's in the same range as Staley and sings a lot of those same parallel fifth harmonies. So it's Gargoyle without an E at the end.
Okay, without an E?
Yeah. And it's fucking great.
Nice. I'll look them up.
So I know that's something that you will like. So now I just have to find this thing, which I know I wish listed, but now it doesn't look like I did. So Sundrowner. I'll just pull it off of Nick's email. That's easy.
Yeah, and I haven't heard of this band, so this will be new to me as well.
So
Yep.
Okay.
here we go. Sundrowner.
I like the...
Humanity. There the...
Sorry, I kind of chonked that up.
Nazi ain't got no humanity.
Here we go.
They're the foot soldiers of a Jew-hating, mass-murdering maniac, and they need to be destroyed.
Nice.
All right. Hey, what do you think?
That is nasty, dude. Those vocals are great.
Yeah, I like.
That actually kind of reminds me of Toke.
Yeah, exactly. It's really raspy and just full throat.
That's cool. I really like those, like that
Guttural
background, like harmonics. That were there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want. I like that kept repeating in my head even when it wasn't going.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted that as like a very silent track in the background the whole time. But that was super cool.
Yeah, and that song is actually called The Racist. Sorry, the album is called In the Forest There's Every Kind of Bird.
Okay.
Yeah, you showed the album art. I really like the album art, mainly just because of it just reminds me of late summer when we went through all those forest fires in California and Oregon and Washington. And it just the colors and everything that captured it, man.
Yeah, that forest does not have every kind of bird. I suspect that's the point.
Yep.
I think Nick said these are friends of his from L.A.
Looks like El Segundo.
El Segundo, yeah.
El Segundo.
And this was released in 2019. Let's get
Okay.
That's for the brewery, right? Segundo Brewery? Yeah.
So yeah, they look like the standard characters.
Yep, they look like stand-up fellows.
Black t-shirt, black pants, sunglasses, long hair.
Yeah, that's the only thing I haven't been able to do is grow long hair. I was just not blessed with those genetics, unfortunately.
At no point in your life?
Nope. Like it always came in thin. I was raised in a very conservative Christian household, so I didn't get a chance to experiment with it. As a teenager was probably the only time I could have done it. But once I got out on my own, joined the army, etc., everything was short.
You still couldn't grow it out.
No.
Army's like, nope.
No, the best I could do this year was a pandemic mullet, and it was just embarrassing. So it got shaved off pretty quick.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I think we're all better at growing hair on our faces now.
Oh, I'm terrible at both. I had luxurious, silky, full-ass hair. And I've had every kind of long and short hair you could imagine. I had dreadlocks in the 90s, like every good 90s musician who was living in LA. Started feeling it go in the top, so I shaved it and went with that for years. And then, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, I thought, let's see what's there. And started growing it out again, and it was just an unacceptable level of thinness on the top. I know plenty of people would go for it. And I'm sure I'm so jealous anytime people are on stage and they fling around that rad hair. And
oh yeah,
I can't.
Do it with the clear. You almost have to have a job to do that over whatever overcomes the stigma of the bald and on the top and the like Nate Carson. He's not bald, but he does have sort of longer hair and thin on the top. But he's a hell of a drummer. And even if he wasn't, I would still accept his hair. But I'm just saying he knows how to rock it, like you're saying.
You can pull it off, yeah. And I think if I let it just get past the really awkward stage, it would be acceptable. But I just know what's there. I know if I pulled it back into a ponytail and looked at my face in the mirror, I would be ashamed. So.
Oh, dude, I was going for the full because since I got laid off, I have no reason not to grow this massive beard, and I tried, dude. And it just got weird. It started curling up and doing weird things and branching off into little places. And it's like, no, you need to grow out nice, just nice and full and thick. And
yeah, I
want to model this shit.
Yeah, I'm super patchy and it's white, so I just look like Grandpa.
Hey, it works.
All right. So, second submission. So this is the song that I pulled off of Bandcamp. I'm just gonna play it without commentary, and then we are gonna talk about what it is. So this song is called Everybody Falls, parentheses, to the Middle Ages.
Huh.
And the artist is Jukio Kallio, who I believe is Finnish.
Okay.
Guys will be playing the after hours stage at Psycho.
A little different.
So is that anything that you would ever choose to listen to just for the sake of listening to music?
Not at present. I'd have to be like on something that made me really super happy and loopy, you know.
So the backstory is that is to probably you're not at all surprised. It's music from a video game. It's a game that our kids are playing called Fall Guys.
Right on.
Yeah. So do you game much?
I don't. I just started a graduate program, so I've had to cut out a lot of that stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'll tell you, all it would do is give you the same kind of anxiety that you feel when you stare at the list of unlistened to music, because you would buy and download games and then be afraid to start playing them.
Oh yeah.
You'd have a second list that would drive you crazy. So this is the whole. I've been hearing this game in the background at my house, and the whole score for it's incredible. And the article is kind of about what inspired them, what the influences were, and how they think about writing music for video games. And there was one little quote that I pulled out. Because a player's focus is usually so tightly tethered to the action on the screen, and because it's not uncommon for players to hear a song repeated hundreds of times, video game music is a powerful medium. Like an unavoidable commercial jingle, it can slip into a player's subconscious or jackhammer them into submission. Kallio is particularly adept at imbuing games with life beyond the screen, expanding the worlds in the process. The core of his approach revolves around bringing more to the table than what the game looks like is what it should sound like.
Hell yeah.
And that some of that music is definitely jackhammered into my brain, and some of it's really good. There's been some really great composition in video games, and it's been a way for fans to get exposed. So you probably never played the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. But I mean, all of the games, but Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, widely considered to be the best, were essentially like...
how many have there been?
5, and then a re-release, and there's been a bunch of them. Are like commercials for pop punk, essentially. They have really incredible soundtracks, and bands blew up because they were on the soundtracks of those games, and that has been repeated in other types of games. Grand Theft Auto has radio stations, and you pick your station, and then it plays music that fits your mood when you're driving in your car.
Yep. That's really cool. Yeah, I was always into like Tekken. That was my game. I did all the Tekken games.
Oh, I love a good fighting game.
I just started playing Diablo 3 with my oldest daughter every Tuesday.
Very cool.
It's I've never been a gamer, and I lose sight of my character. I'm not sure which of the life bars I'm looking at correctly. I can't change a weapon. Like, I'm horrible at it. But
it sounds like
fucking hilarious.
Sounds like maybe.
Where am I?
When I go to a football game, I'm always like the one who gets fooled by the fake. And I'm following the guy who's got the fake. And meanwhile, the action's on the other side of it. And I'm like, I'll never get this.
Yeah, I've played enough games with JD to verify his story. It's a fucking disaster.
The last game console that I owned was a Sega Genesis. I was playing the original Sonic. I mean, I've never been a gamer.
Yeah, well, we played a little Street Fighter, the new Street Fighter on the PlayStation this summer. That's fun. That's fun.
Cool.
It was fun.
I love Street Fighter.
Street Fighter, I can sort of, because it's like any of the games that I actually played in an arcade at the mall. I can still sort of know what I'm doing. Yeah. But then once, it got to the point of you have now 14 buttons and 3 joysticks, and you have
just
to do
too much, right?
Thumbs. It's just like, what?
Yeah, Galaga was always my game at the YMCA. I did karate lessons, and then afterwards I cool off by just playing Galaga.
That was fun. That was like Centipede, Space Invaders. My favorite was, was it called? Xevious? It was the one that had the dial, and your thing kind of rotated around the outside.
Wasn't that Xenophobe?
No, I don't.
Wasn't it?
We'll do
early training for Xenophobes.
We'll just look it up later.
Joust?
No. I played a lot of Joust, for sure. All right, so let's get to song 3 again. Talk about who this is after we listen to it. This is an artist called Silent Type, and the song is called Thunderbeast.
And where did this was submitted?
This was submitted.
All right.
pause it now for a little context. So Silent Type was recorded and placed on Bandcamp by Chris Hughes. And Chris was the engineer and producer of the first Kook record, and the second engineer, Billy's backup for the second Kook record.
Is he in Long Beach now?
He is in Southern California now, but also known for recording and producing the Burn the Insects record. And then Lucas from Burn the Insects has a new project called Laserbeam.
Okay.
And Chris has recorded all of Lucas' new stuff and a bunch of other bands. I mean, last year he flew down to like Argentina to record a death metal album.
Wow.
in a condo on the beach. While he was with Lucas working on Laserbeam, he just locked himself in the studio and wrote and recorded these things under the name Silent Type. So he's got a few of them. They're just singles on Bandcamp.
I was really liking where that was going. Like, we talked last week about intros, right? And I think this, you can tell it's going somewhere. Like it keeps building and it adds new instruments, and like you can tell that it's building to something, which it keeps me listening. Like I want to know what's coming next.
You said it was Silent Kind?
Silent Type.
Silent Type, okay.
Yeah, and all of this music will be there'll be links in the description for the podcast.
Cool. I'll check them out.
So that's Chris. I want to hear actually do the fun thing about doing podcast recordings from home is that you get text messages from your daughter saying, I need to get home so I can finish some homework and turn it in. So.
Oh,
all right then. So you want to just start where we were or skip forward a little bit?
Let's skip forward like maybe
a little past halfway.
So it's instrumental.
Yeah, it's instrumental, and he played everything: drums, piano.
This is something I could totally put on while I'm working.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's just good post rock, post metal, kind of that riding that line in between, and is definitely falls in the category of when I would throw on Red Sparrows or Russian Circles or something like that and get some work done.
It's a little more. It's like a cleaner Russian Circles. I wonder where the name came from.
Yeah.
Like
is he the
nickname maybe?
Is he the silent type?
Isn't he?
He's quiet. He's quiet. He's reserved.
The few times that I met him, he's kind of reserved.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Yeah, I could also have like a double entendre, like fact that there's no vocals or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be that too.
I could also just ask him. Since I know him.
You know him?
That's crazy, I know. No, so the other fun thing about I'm running all the music through my phone on Bandcamp, and I just got a pop-up that said, cha-ching! Somebody just bought blank dollars worth of merchandise from your Bandcamp store. Somebody's out there buying records. All right. So that is the end of the first three. So we're gonna stop for a minute and talk a little bit about what's on the merch table.
Is it time to visit the merch table?
I think it is.
Merch table, yay!
And Billy was kind enough to pull together. Oh
yeah.
You've been stung.
You've been stung.
All right, so why don't you work on cracking some of those boxes while I...
Okay.
Who's the cat?
Yeah, this is a theme.
This is Bunky. So I have a modified desk arrangement because this cat always insists on stepping on my keyboard. So I've got my keyboard on my lap. In front of me is the desk drawer with a pillow and a blanket. And it's just as comfy as you can ask for. And then my laptop and my desktop steps here. So that way she doesn't step on anything. And then she can just sleep right in front of me the whole day. And she does it just because I give out treats liberally.
Yeah.
She lost her sister.
How's her BMI with those treats?
Oh, I don't know. She's okay now. She lost her sister 3 weeks ago, and it's just hitting her. Like, where's my sister? because these two grew up together. I got them at the Pound as twins, and so now she's doing the search around the house thing. She's looking up at all the usual spots, and the one thing she has just been craving is attention. So she's constantly in my face, and I'm constantly like spoiling her with treats and things. So yeah, that's Bunky.
I'm very curious to see if you and I have any matching packages this week. So
Okay, yeah.
The first thing I
This
got
will be our first instance of matching merch.
was a box from Church Recordings from Trevor Church from Han.
Nice.
And this is a T-shirt for the band Hysteria that he's in with the guys from
yeah.
Hellfire. Yeah,
That's
so
right.
I love this record. So
Who did the art?
you know, one of the guys Trevor always uses. He's got a couple though. There's not just one now. And
Oh,
then
yeah?
along with that came 2 records, not the new Haunt records. Those are shipping separately. But the first is the King Gorm record. So Francis, who recorded our theme music and is an Old Man Wizard, and then released this project to kind of a lot of acclaim, and already released another record that's kind of a sprawling, epic rock record, just like 2 weeks ago under his own name. Not under a band name. It's a solo project that he did by himself. So this record's really fun. It's a really fun throwback proto metal, you know, sword and sorcery adventure story type of a record. And then of course I got the shirt, but of course that means I also got the Hysteria record.
Cool.
So looking forward to throwing both of those on at some point here. All right.
Right
so
on.
How about you? You go.
Okay, so I'm just pulling these at random. I have no idea what I'm even looking at here. This one has a logo and not a name that's clearly discernible.
I got a record!
So I got a really nice record, but I apologize. I don't know who this is.
The fun thing about being Billy is that people just send you things that you
That's
didn't ask
right.
for. So then you have to figure out what.
Oh, I know what this is. Okay, this is Bible Black Tyrant. Bible Black Tyrant.
Tyrant?
Yes. Do you remember the guy who was in Lumbar with Mike Scheit and Tad Doyle?
Oh, yeah.
Aaron. What's his last name? I think it's Aaron Turner. No, it's not Aaron Turner. Sorry. That's somebody else entirely.
We can look it up. We can look it up.
Yeah, I apologize. Like I'm on the air and I'm nervous. Yeah, that's the reason I can't remember his name.
We figured out on episode 1 that we're old as shit and forget everything.
Everything.
And if we spend all the time that we would normally spend trying to remember things live on air, we would probably drive people insane. So whenever we forget something, we just try to move on quickly.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Aaron DC Edge is his name. Aaron DC Edge. I remember.
Edge?
Yeah, and he has this incredible project. It's a solo project called Helvetica. You guys got to look this up.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, he's been doing like improvisations on like Smashing Pumpkins tunes and turning them into total soulless sludge monsters. They're just incredible. He did one with Alice in Chains tunes, and he did a Clutch, and he just starts shredding, man, and he has some really interesting ideas too.
Yeah, I'll have to check
it all
that out
off.
because Smashing Pumpkins are actually kind of a huge influence for me.
Oh yeah.
As much as I personally despise Billy Corgan at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not real into the new stuff that's come out, but I mean, Gish and Siamese Dreams were hugely influential records right when I first started playing music.
Oh yeah.
And I dreamed of a world where you had this kind of lush soundscapes with walls and walls of guitars, the kind of ethereal feel that had. Oh, there you go.
I bet you know what this is.
I know what that is. Zach Sabbath. There you go, for those of you listening.
Yep. And
he's got a track. He's got a track on the Magnetic Eye Redux.
He does.
A Sabbath record, yeah. Which is kind of I mean, nothing against it, but it's a weird placement because mostly what those records do is feature kind of underground bands who aren't already in really famous Black
Sabbath this
tribute bands. Oh, there you go.
This is my album of the year right now.
Is it?
What is that?
That's the Dirt.
Which is unusual because it's a
Dirt Redux?
Yeah, it's a record full of covers. But the covers on here are so good. They're not all as equal in quality, but take the Howling Giant Rooster. They reinvented that song, man. That song gives me chills now. Yeah, and that was never my favorite Alice in Chains either.
No, it's kind of a goofy. I thought it was kind of a goofy song. I was definitely not my favorite Alice in Chains song, but I love Howling Giant, man. When we were on tour last year, we played with them at a little mini festival in Texas, and just for one night they had a guy playing a Hammond organ and wrote organ parts to go along with their entire set, and it was fucking incredible. And we were just in this little brewery. I was like 2 feet away from the guy wailing away on the organ, and they were just on fire that night. They're so good.
Oh man, they just keep jumping from one level of strength to the next. I was honestly never like a hardcore fan, but everything they put out year after year just keeps getting better. It keeps, I don't know what they do. They just deepen themselves.
Yeah, no, they're great. Cool. All right, I have one more here. This is, I'm going to take it out of the plastic because you get such reflections. So, talking about the ecosystem of people in the underground, one of the most important but maybe least talked about are the artists. And you know, like in the 70s and the 80s, there are artists whose work is popular, and bands, lots and lots of bands use them, and so you start developing these scenes that where not only does the music sound kind of similar, have echoes, but the art does too. And so you can start to go like, oh, well, I like that Yes album, so I can grab another album with a similar looking cover, and I bet I'll like it too. Well, this is the new Spirit Adrift record.
Oh, hell yeah.
And the cover painting was done by Adam Burke, who is an
amazing,
incredibly prolific painter. This was probably painted on a 12 by 24 chunk of wood, as most of it. He did a cover painting for us, and I have the original, and it was painted on wood.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hand oil painted. You know, in
incredible
normal conversation, you kind of give him a rough concept, and then
he goes with
Adam throws you a sketch, and if the sketch meets your needs, he might give you one or two peaks in between, but you just get what you get. And I mean, he's incredible. I love all of his work. So.
I do too. I'm a big fan.
And this record is great. Spirit Adrift has now 3 full-length records. You know, progression on every record. They all sound a little bit different, and this one's really cool. And I like the kind of triumphant feeling of it, the kind of hopeful.
Yeah.
For a Doom record, that's kind of a hopeful cover.
Right. Right. It's kind of like, it reminds me not stylistically of the Sword, but just the spirit of like early Sword stuff. Just very, you know, it is cool. Very optimistic.
Yeah, and the ring light kind of blows out the vinyl, but this is a nice pink and blue.
Oh, yeah.
50-50 with some splatter.
Cool.
Is that what that's called, a 50-50?
Yeah, where you have a negative and positive on the front and the back.
Oh, I see.
The way they do the colors. Yeah. Well, if it was pressed by Pirates Press, that's what they call it.
It probably was.
Cool. Anything else, or did you show off all your goods?
One more.
All right, let's see it.
And this is a little self-serving because this is a hobby label that a friend of mine and I started last year called Black Sacrament Records. And of course, my first issue was the band that I live out in Norway, Shepherd's Crook. All right, and we had a nice little card design with cool little insert and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and I haven't begun selling these yet because my deal with the band was, hey, if you let us do this, we'll give you half the tapes, no charge. You can sell them. We'll sell the other half. And it seemed like a good deal to them. It's a very budget way to do a contract, like not budget, but hobbyist way of doing a contract. Yeah, kind of the old gentleman's agreement there. Because
we do a lot of those. Glory or Death does those.
Really?
Does those. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's a lot more generous than usual. Usually, you get the artist gets maybe 20 or 25% if they're doing good, not half. So you did right by the band.
Prepared for them to blow up because they're about to get 50 to 100 listens.
In our scene, that's nothing to sneeze at sometimes.
Which 3 of those people would show up to a show?
Which record is that?
This is their second EP, Uteseiler, which I think just means the sailor. It's 3 tracks, and they have this really sad, plaintive sounding guitar that kind of plays over the low tuned doom, and then they have these raspy vocals that aren't quite death they're more sludge. They're like traditional sludge.
Well, let's hear it. If I was going to throw on one of the tracks.
Yes. Okay. So I want you to play.
This is the one you compared to Church.
No, that was Stygian Crown. So for this one, I think what I want you to play is the middle track.
Uteseiler, the short one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a nice little groove to it. You sure you got the right one? That's it, yeah. Yep, right. That's it.
That's good.
It's pretty sick, huh?
Halloween music right there.
That is, man.
Like, I know. I was picturing. As soon as those vocals came in, I was like picturing this witch, just like
stewing
I'm telling you, man. Norway has some sick vocalists. I've heard so many like just crazy vocals come out of there.
I haven't heard anything like that before.
Yeah, there's another band.
I see what you're saying. It's sort of like elements of black metal, but it's not like that. It's not screaming per se.
No,
like in black metal.
It's you just got the feeling like you just stumble upon this guy in the woods and he's telling his story, and you're like
talking to you.
Exactly.
You want to leave, but you're not. You're kind of scared too.
Yeah, definitely.
Back away slowly.
Definitely don't accept like an apple from him or.
Yeah, there's another band with really scary vocals from out of Norway. They're on hiatus right now. They're called Reptile Master, and they've only put out one album and then a live version of that one album. And I'm telling you, like, it's creepy as fuck, but it's doomed. They got like 2 guitars, 2 bassists, drummer, a singer. They mean business.
Only one drummer?
I think so. Maybe they have 2. They should have 2, right? And 2 singers.
Yes. Caius, or not Caius. God. Oh, my old man brain.
Mine too, man. I'm just glad I'm in good company.
Yeah.
I feel normal tonight for the first time in a while.
It's the Forgetful Old Man show.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, so the next one we're going to play, we're going to get back to the submissions now.
Whoa. This came in for the email.
Yes, back to people we know. So these are, well, I'll play it.
Oh, we know this person?
Oh, yeah. The 4 I picked.
Oh, okay.
They're all.
Oh, that's right, because we wanted to make sure Billy hadn't heard of them.
Yeah. So, and even then, it's impossible to know for sure. But pretty sure you haven't heard this.
A good job faking it.
Yeah. I think so. All right, so this is. They're not on here, so I'll tell you, Bandcamp, if you're listening, if you ever listen to my show, your Windows app and your search function are not super good. You're really good at lots of other things. Not so good at this. So this is a band from San Jose called War Tongue. This is a single from an upcoming release that will be more than just one single. And the song is called You're the Parade. And it is 2 minutes and 15 seconds long.
Let's do it. Things about to get crazy.
Yes.
Is that a live shot up top? The Ritz? What is that?
So I knew.
How have we not booked them if they're local?
Oh, so
Did they start in the pandemic?
No. So I knew this would be up your alley. This is Keith Brinkley, who's a bass player who's been in a million awesome bands in San Jose, and then two brothers, one of whom was the drummer for High Sorcery. Yeah, Steve Campbell.
Yeah.
And doing kind of a thing that I knew would be
right up my alley.
Straight up JD Valley. No, they haven't been super active, and they don't need us.
So they've been around for a while?
They know everybody in San Jose, so they don't need to come.
I like to book bands that I like to listen to.
No.
I don't care if they need me or not.
No, I know. They just go around. They just like they're deeply connected to everybody at all the venues. So they just say, "Hey, we want to play a show," and they play. They go right to Corey at the Ritz.
Well, they're gonna play our show when we're done.
Yeah.
The vocals kind of remind me of Greg Puciato from
totally
Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This picture right here is definitely the front room at the Ritz.
Yeah, it looks like it. Totally. It is the front room.
I know that.
Man, they make that front room look huge.
I know.
Holy shit, that is the front room. Oh my god. Talk about a fisheye lens.
Yeah.
Oh,
Camera
that's
tricks.
that's a great picture of the front room at the Ritz. For anybody listening, you just need to understand that the front room of the Ritz is probably 12 feet wide by about maybe 14 feet deep.
Yeah.
And there's boxes and tables in the way.
Yeah, it's a tiny black box.
It's amazing though.
It's the merch room when they have a show there.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So they do shows in the merch room.
Okay, that's small.
They're amazing shows because everybody's
fun.
just packed in there and it's nuts.
Oh, we put Goya in. Speaking of Goya, we put Goya in that room.
People have to basically walk through the stage to get to the bathroom.
Yeah, you can see the bathroom doors in this picture right here. It's this door right here.
Go watch on YouTube.
So the barflies wander through the door over here and then kind of stumble around, and usually there's a pedal board right in front of the bathroom door. Yeah. So you have to make sure they don't step on your pedals.
But I've seen the guitarists and drummers, and I think I've seen everybody try to fight off one of the barflies.
Yeah,
because they'll stand up there on stage and encroach on their space.
It's fun. The Ritz is a really nice venue. It's about
amazing.
It's about a 500 cap venue in San Jose. That when we did the Epicenter festival with High on Fire and Holy Grove and Moz Generator, we did it in the main room. A lot of nights of the week they don't have shows booked. There's a lot of competition in San Jose for a venue of that size, and we get blocked out by Santa Cruz and San Francisco because we're in the radius for blocking out shows. And so they just decided to open up that front room on weeknights to do free shows. So they're always free. There's no cost to use the room. There's one person there to help with sound.
Yep.
You can take donations and give donations to the band, but it's if you just need a home for somebody who's passing through on a Tuesday night in San Jose, it's a killer spot. When we can do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I really like that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I figured you would. I'm sure you'll listen to the rest of it. The whole song is only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. We can listen to a little bit. We'll probably finish the whole thing, frankly.
Yeah. I'm down.
JD's new favorite.
I love it.
New favorite band in San Jose.
New favorite local band. Sorry, Jeff.
Okay.
That's legit.
My feelings are not hurt. All right, so that is that. War Tongue. Yeah, they're sick, and I can't wait until they just released the first song in May.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I know they've been at it for a while.
Yeah.
And I'd kind of heard a little bit about what was going on. Steven honestly was one of the guys that we tried to get to play drums for us when.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he's like, you guys are old, and I don't want to play any more boring stoner music. So, and since this is what he's doing now, I
Makes sense.
I totally get it.
Wait,
So-
was that the guy with the played in another band this Sunday, right? Never mind. This is a side conversation.
Off my
No, we're
conversation.
gonna stick a pin in that.
Yeah. Just have a little notepad in front of you. You can write notes. Cool. All right. So now we are to the second Bandcamp pick. So expect a hard left turn into something completely different.
Okay.
More Nintendo music.
I don't know about that. All right. So we ready?
Yep.
Queima, deixar vira cinza, fumaça, a praça derreteu, a noite não findou, o temporal mal começou. Deixa o sol nascer, quando ele quiser, a lava escorrer até o último sinal de vida, abraçado à morte sem saber. Os moribundos dançam, as moscas já nos cobrem, ninguém pode parar, nem fé, amor ou sorte.
All right. So this is, in case you don't know Portuguese, a Brazilian artist playing kind of a whacked out version of the samba music that he grew up on.
I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it's good.
You know what it reminds? It reminds me of Rodrigo y Gabriela, but they're more like flamenco, right? But they're like flamenco metal, and this is kind of like the same except with Brazilian.
Yeah, so
influence.
so here's a good quote from Pitchfork, but recorded on analog tape with an ear to the production techniques of Brazilian records from the 60s and 70s. Kiko explores folk music textures with a chunky, percussive playing style and a taut energy that recalls his experience in the city's punk scene.
Yeah.
So this is an ex-punk rocker
You can hear it.
exploring his
Like if that was
folk
electrified.
music history. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really interesting, and the article, the Bandcamp article is really cool, you know, kind of going into his history, but I pulled out a little quote here. The seeds for this song were planted in June of 2019 when Dinucci, rediscovering his childhood love of skateboarding, suffered a broken ankle, requiring 2 painful surgeries and months of recuperation. More skateboarding musicians.
Jeez, that sounds familiar.
In the hospital, I saw news on my phone with Brazil in convulsion, fires in the Amazon, the president doing unbelievable and sadistic things that cause suffering, a neoliberal and a Nazi policy focused on the suffering of the poorest people and the loss of their rights, he recalls. It increased my pain, and I passed the suffering on to the record. Indeed, the album conveys a mix of anger and sadness in equal measure, but there's also a feeling of steely resistance and passion. So it's a Brazilian folk mashup of punk and doom.
I feel like it's basically the Brazilian version of our murder folk.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, that's their folk music, and it's like heavy and hard and angry, and yeah, that's like Brazilian murder folk.
I'm telling you, there's a whole world of music to discover in Brazil,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they got their thing going on down there.
Yeah, so I was curious if I grabbed another, like, the opening track. So how does he open the record? It's a 2-minute and 42-second song called Exu Odara.
Sounds scary.
love the cover too.
The cover's awesome. All the rotting fruit. I feel like I keep saying this is something I could work to.
Yeah, that could be honestly, that could be a yob song.
Oh,
Yeah, or a song by Ohm. It's got that repeating note that kind of touches on that
Dong,
sitar.
dong,
Boom.
yeah, that resonant drone.
We just started a band.
We just discovered the funk version of that last week when we listened to Tower of Power. Have you ever listened to much funk?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah, so there's a East Bay band called Tower of Power, big in the 70s. Still popular. The bass player passed away, and he's one of my all-time favorites. And he and the drummer came up with this concept called hip, which was a droning bass note, but just played at about 50 times that speed. So a lot of Tower of Power songs have a running single note in the background, holding kind of a drone that they called the hip, that was kind of the center of the groove that they built around it. And if you slowed it down, you'd have that.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, those guys, it looks like they've been jamming since '68.
Yeah, they've
68?
been around. Tower of Power has been around.
Oh, Tower of Power. I thought you were talking about this guy.
Sorry.
I mean, obviously, this guy's got pitchfork's ear, so people are paying attention. But
oh yeah, completely.
I want to listen to more of that for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we have one more submission, and this is a submission from a band who has a member that is another band that we know and love, and this is the side project of the bass player.
Wait, if we know and love them,
Billy probably knows, and I won't.
You're doing good so far, yeah.
I won't presume to say that you love them, but I bet you at least know Worshipper.
You're about to.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. So Bob from Worshipper, who's rad, who's also a professor at an art college in Boston, which is why all their art and graphic design is impeccable. Is in another band, a little side band, and he submitted a song, and I cracked up.
Is it just him or a full band?
No, so they're in a band that is the type of band that doesn't have a Bandcamp page. They do have a SoundCloud, but they are called...
So they're rap?
No, they're called Slim Jim and the Madcows.
Oh, yeah.
So let's listen to Bob from Worshipper's other band,
Slim Jim and the
Slim Jim and the Madcows. I love it already.
Somos un barco sin tormenta, un frío sin el calor, la luz en la oscuridad que él reclamó. Somos una brisa sin lágrimas, la esperanza sin el temor. Estamos llegando a nuestra tierra.
Nice.
We're off to the witch. The women never come home. And the magic that we feel is worth a lifetime.
I love
We're all
this.
born upon the cross.
Do you hear what's going on? You know these lyrics.
The only way is down. We don't come alone. We're fire, we're stone. We're the hand that writes and quickly moves away.
People listening know what this is.
Well,
This isn't covers? Are they doing cover albums?
Yeah. This is a Dio cover. This is Last in Line.
I love it.
Incredible.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
It's so
Yeah, I've heard so many good adaptations in country of traditional rock or metal songs. Not a lot are doing it, but when it's done really well.
Yeah, and I love the particular type of country and the fact that they have the trumpet, the horns.
The horns in the background.
Totally makes it for me.
Kind of like a Tex-Mex kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, when Bob posted that he was playing in this band and I saw pictures, I was like, what the fuck? I didn't get it. I didn't look at the songs or the song titles, but
yeah.
Now that I know what they're doing, this is fucking great.
Is it all covers or all Dio covers?
I think it's all like metal, rock and metal covers. Yell at me if I'm wrong, Bob.
Cool. We got some sirens in the background.
That's great.
That's fun.
The pedal steel guitar. Come on, that'd be fun to see. I know they do a lot of
100%.
shows in Boston.
Because they dress up and probably wear like polo ties.
Yeah, they're fully dressed up. I should find their Facebook page and share it. But it's kind of like going to see the Metalachi, the mariachi band that does all rock and metal covers in mariachi, like full mariachi style. It's fun. It's a good crowd pleaser. All right, so we know Billy's got a recording engagement coming up soon, so I want to wrap up with one more song, and that is from good friends of ours, speaking of people in the local scene who do multiple things, who do good things for everybody. My buddy Travis from Vultures at Arm's Reach texted me a link to some new music that they put out. So Travis works at multiple venues in Santa Cruz. Ten's Bar at the Blue Lagoon, which is like one of the great dives that every band has come through the Bay Area has played at the Blue Lagoon at some point or another. And his band is killer like Neurosis, Isis, like deep, rich post-metal stuff that I absolutely love.
Oh, it's so good.
But they recorded some stuff during the pandemic, so he sent this to me yesterday. I saw that they had put music out, but I hadn't had a chance to listen to it yet. And he said, "Have you listened yet?" And I said, "No, but I will tonight." And then I put my headphones in as soon as he finished and listened to it right at that moment, and then had a like half-hour long conversation with him after I was done listening because it was so good. I asked him how they made it, and he said they made it during Shelter in Place at a venue in the Santa Cruz Mountains called the Felton Music Hall. They did it apart. No one was ever within 30 feet of anyone else. They mixed the whole thing via the internet, and they started by building the drum tracks, which are fairly simple and straightforward, and then layering the guitars and the bass and the vocals over those. And I'm pretty sure they so kind of the way he said, the way Meshuggah recorded Obscene, which is a fucking great album, by the way.
Definitely.
And I think he said they were recording it during the fires that were raging. Felton was like nearly burned down.
That's crazy. So, not laughing at that.
No.
Laughing that they would lock themselves in a venue and record.
What an intense thing. And Travis is so rad, and we rely on him and his venue, and we drag him out. They don't play a ton of shows, but we drag him out whenever we can to play shows just because they're so good. And they're the kind of band that I think like millions of people would like if they just heard it, if they just were exposed to it. It's a real case for like how much exposure can change things. So it's a 2-song EP. I was going to share the Facebook page so you could see it. And it has 2 songs. Immigrate is the first song. It's 4 minutes and 26 seconds long. And Emigrate with an E is the second song. It's 8 minutes and 36.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to play a little bit of Immigrate. And then I'm actually going to drop in the WAV file for the full 8.5-minute version of Emigrate at the end of the episode. So if you listen through the end of the episode, it'll wrap up with the full version of this song. Or you can just go listen to it on Bandcamp. don't know what you think about this, but we had a conversation last week, Billy, about how when a song like, you know, builds and does its thing and then has a break in the middle where there's like a noise section or a section where there's kind of a disruption. Think of Elephant Tree, Aphotic Blues. Like 2/3 of the way through the song stops and there's kind of this minute of building noise and feedback that's, I think, designed to build tension ultimately.
Yeah.
And how that's an excellent tool, but really hard to pull off, and only works when you land the riff that comes after the noise. Like you have to stick that riff.
Got to land that riff.
Like Space Switch is one that did that in their last album.
Yeah,
they had a lot of cacophony with sax and all kinds of things, very jazzy chaos, and then boom, they come out with their first riff.
Or the Elephant Tree song is jung 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 jung.
Yep.
It's like so fucking good. I texted Travis. I said, I don't know if you listened to the last episode, but we talked about this, and in that second song, you guys fucking stuck the landing on that, on bringing the riff. So listen through the rest of the podcast if you want to hear the whole thing, or just go on Bandcamp and buy it from them, and buy everything that they have on there, because it all deserves to be heard.
Yeah, it's 2 songs.
So this EP is 2 songs. So here's a little bit of Immigrate to start.
That's great.
You fucking nailed it, Travis.
Well, that's not even it.
Just that.
No,
I mean, that's so good.
It's really fucking good. Yeah, no, this is a segment we usually call our friends make awesome art or something like that. I can absolutely agree that is
so good.
You're gonna listen to the rest of it tonight, aren't you?
Cover too.
That's solid.
So
I like
rad.
it.
What is that?
I don't know.
You have to describe it for our podcast listeners.
It's like a weird. It's almost like someone took a record and lit it weird.
Yeah.
And then broke one section of
Heated it and bent it,
folded it in half.
Yeah.
or a slot like a slot car track.
Slot car track. It could be.
It's just this like crazy continuous circle shapes.
Dude, that's good. That sounded so. And like the way that they recorded it. I mean, especially the drums. It sounded like it was in an empty venue,
in a big hall.
God, that sound was so cool.
Well, and when I first heard it, I heard that snare crack and all the echo, and I was like, like that's usually a thing that bothers me.
Yeah.
But like we talked about last week with Maddie, I knew the context of it.
Yeah.
And then it gets washed out completely when the other instruments come in, and it makes sense that it rings out the way that it does in the quiet parts.
Yeah. That is good.
So it looks like I was following these guys, but I'd lost track of them.
Yeah.
I do recognize their 2014 album, so that's probably when I started following. And I just lost track, but that sounded really good.
Well, you just got back on track.
The 27. This album is really great too. I mean, it's all good, and my favorite thing about Travis is that he walks out on stage to play those songs with a fucking Stratocaster, like it's no big deal, single coil pickups and all, and just is like, fuck you all you doom guys. It's brilliant. All right, well, hey, let's give you a minute to plug all the shit you do.
Dude.
Point people to the blog, to
Website.
the record.
Oh, sure.
Where to get to the record label.
Yeah, well, real
buy
quick.
Tapes.
Tapes aren't on sale yet. They will be soon. Just look up Black Sacrament Records on Instagram or Facebook and give us a follow. My main gig is doomedinstone.com, and that's been around for about 7 years, covering mainly the doom metal and stoner rock scene, but I do branch out quite a bit. And so yeah, that's where it's all based. And then I've got a compilation series on Bandcamp that's now 24 volumes deep that just kind of goes.
Great.
You guys got to help me. I got to do something for California, and it's too big to do as a whole state, so I'm going to break it up into segments. But I want to do a Doomed in Stone like in the Bay Area or something. So we'll chat offline about that. But yeah, so that's kind of my thing. And I got a podcast too called the Doomed in Stone Show. Been going for about 6 years.
Yeah, you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, and it's a SoundCloud thing too. It doesn't rap, but it's probably only rock and metal on SoundCloud, to be honest.
And is it on all the regular podcast platforms too?
Yeah, that's just kind of its base, and then the RSS feed goes out to Spotify and Google Podcasts and Apple and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Hey,
well,
this has been awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm pumped.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Definitely.
It's good to catch up, and looking forward to seeing you again in person someday.
Yeah, we'll do it again sometime, and I can't wait to meet up at a show somewhere in 2021.
Hopefully, man.
Fingers crossed.
We get to actually do it.
Hopefully. So. We're going to throw one hell of a party.
Awesome. Well,
Cool.
We'll give you 20 minutes to prep for your next set of recordings that I'm doing, and we will talk to you again sometime soon, and we'll tag you once everything's posted up. Awesome.
Yep,
Thanks,
I sure
Billy.
appreciate it. Bye.
Right.
Good night.
Doom on.
Doom on. All right. So, hey, that was another one. It was quite a ride. Billy always will whip some obscure shit out for you. I feel like he could do this show better than us. It's like, this is banned in the bottom of a volcano in Iceland.
In the bottom of exactly.
I mean, he's such a, and what I love about him is that he's a tireless searcher. He wants to know what's new.
Yeah. And that's what you have to do. That's how you find new stuff. You just have to look. And he wants to come to our festivals instead of Psycho Las Vegas because we're pulling bands deeper from the underground than Psycho is. He knows all those bands. He's heard them all before. Yeah. He wants to hear the bands that he doesn't know and hasn't heard yet. So really appreciate all the work that he does to help promote small bands in the scene and help them get seen, help them get bigger. I guarantee you, the Howling Giant guys or any of a number of other bands that he talked about tonight owe him some sort of debt for writing them up or helping them promote a release or something like that. I know he's helped me. So premieres. All right, well, all sorts of fun stuff. Ahead and sign off. That was another episode of Blynd Submyshynz. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us for another week of Blynd Submyshynz. See episode description for links to all artists discussed in this episode, and visit their sites to support them directly by buying music and merch. Share links to the podcast or YouTube videos with your friends, especially if they're in bands. Bands! If you want us to listen to your music on a future episode, please submit one song to blyndsub@gmail.com. That is blyndsub, blyndsub@gmail.com. Bandcamp links preferred, but not required. Find us on social media at Blynd Submyshynz. Full video episodes are available on our YouTube. Remember, we go in blind, so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.